start with your name. Can you spell it for me?
Okay, it's Rick Middleton. Middleton.
Okay, thank you. And what year did you join the service?
1966.
And what was your ranking?
When I went in or when I went out?
When you went out.
Sergeant.
Okay. Why did you join the war?
Well, I was drafted.
Oh, all right. After you got in, did you feel like it benefited America?
Yes.
Okay. Dealing with the terrain, what type of clothing did you wear?
Well, we wore, in Vietnam, I wore jungle fatigues, which were loose-fitting, clothes and short sleeves.
All right. When you said you were drafted, were you mad about that, or were you okay with it?
No, not mad, because it's a duty that I believe that we have to serve our country. I mean, we live in one of the great country in the world, and I feel that we should do our part, whatever our part may be.
Okay. What type of weaponry did you use while in combat?
An M16 was the primary weapon that I used, and we did use 45 pistols, 45, and M60 machine guns.
Okay, and what type of combat did you use? Did you have tanks or et cetera?
Actually, the time that I was there, we worked with some mechanized units, which would be the ones that would have tanks. Mm-hmm. We worked with them sometimes, but I was in the infantry, so most everything that we did is we flew places in helicopters, and then we went on our patrols walking.
Okay.
We did not ride, or we didn't use tanks, just because they were, there was places in the jungles where it was not accessible tanks.
Mm-hmm. Were you ever captured or imprisoned?
No.
Did you ever have a fear of being captured?
Every day.
Okay. Did you ever experience drug usage?
No, I did see, there was some drug usage, but not, most of that was done more in the rear areas.
Mm-hmm.
Like where I was, and, actually combat units, we all relied on each other, and we did not put up with people using drugs, because that would limit their capabilities, and all of our lives depended on each other. See, when you're back in the rear areas where it's not possibly as intense, then I think that drug usage is probably more. But I have heard and read statistics that the drug usage in Vietnam was nowhere different. It was just about exactly the same for the same age group for people that were back in the States.
Oh.
You see what I mean? So it was not like more or less. It was really the same as 20-year-olds in the United States use drugs just as much as 20-year-olds in Vietnam.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does. Okay. How did you communicate with your fellow troops, family, or friends?
Well, family, we send letters,
mm-hmm.
and you get letters and maybe care packages and things.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing, friends. I mean, back then, the only thing you could do was write letters, because we did not have the same kind of communication that they have now, where they can get it on their cell phones or computers. They can actually visibly see each other when they're talking, all that kind of good technology.
Mm-hmm.
We never had that stuff, so we would send letters.
Yeah.
Sometimes it would take a couple weeks for letters to get one place to another,
Mm-hmm. When you came home, how did you feel?
I felt proud of what we all did, and amongst ourselves, but unfortunately the country was in turmoil, and at that time it was, you felt like unappreciated and all that kind of good stuff, because my generation actually has, I believe, changed the way young people like you
mm-hmm.
and America thinks.
Mm-hmm.
Because back then, they persecuted us, and they were wrong. I mean, it turns out people like Jane Fonda and all that stuff you may have heard about,
Mhm.
it turned out she was wrong, and we all knew she was wrong.
Yeah.
But of course, when you have that kind of voice, like these Hollywood people do,
Mhm.
they see things, and then people take it for truth, and unfortunately that's what was going on. But now I think that my generation has convinced America, and you look around, I think it's very true, that if you don't, it's okay not to agree with the war.
Mm.
I mean, nobody likes war. People who, soldiers hate war probably more than anybody. But if you don't like war, you should not blame the warriors.
Yeah.
And that's what they did back in my day. They blamed the warriors as opposed to blaming people like in Washington that actually created the war.
Yeah.
So nowadays, I think people know. I mean, it's that look how America supports the troops.
Yeah.
That does not mean we need to agree with what's going on.
Yeah, you need to be supportive.
Support of the people.
Yeah.
But you don't have to support the conflict.
Mhm.
If we're against that, you try and get it out. You can't blame the people who are serving their country. That's just wrong. No.
Yeah. Our final question: Are you friends with any of your former troops?
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much.
No problem.